Welcome, everybody. Sorry about that last little stream I put up. I did not have anything ready to go. But thank you guys for coming back to Diggity Podcast. I know we took a brief little hiatus here, and we are happy to be back. But for now, it is actually just going to be me. So you're going to have to deal with this for a few more weeks. Jeff plans on coming back for the first show of May. So hopefully all of that works out as we planned, and we will be back to the two of us doing the show again. As always, I am your host, Brody. I'm not going to call myself luscious. It feels conceited. I don't really like it. And I forgot to tell you guys, next week I will have a guest on the show with me, so we'll break up the monotony just a little bit, but it'll still be a little bit different for us. So if you aren't already, follow us on Instagram at Diggity Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Diggity. You can also find us a little easier on YouTube by searching for Diggity Gaming. You can find us on Twitter at Diggity Podcast as well. Subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, or just about anywhere you listen. We're probably there. And again, thank you for dealing with this weird little hiatus for a little bit as, you know, the world entirely falls apart. But as always, we like to start off our show with what we have been playing. So I have been playing a slew of different things. Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Modern Warfare. I played the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo and can't wait to go pick that up today. I'm gonna hope I can find a physical copy at my local Walmart, social distancing and all that good stuff. But I really would like to have a physical copy of this game, so we'll do what we have to do. Rocket League, as always, just a brief little bit of that as the new season started, and a ton of Animal Crossing. Lots and lots of Animal Crossing, as there is nothing else I can do. So I might as well, cross animals. Why not? Next up on our list here, Diggity Deals. So on Xbox One, you can get Resident Evil 2 Remake for $19.99 on the Xbox Store. For Nintendo Switch, you can get Earthlock for $5.98 on the US eShop. On PS4, you can get a pre-owned copy of Horizon Zero Dawn from GameStop for $7.99, which is a fantastic deal. And on PC, you can get Planet Coaster for $11.24 on Steam. Upcoming game releases for today and for the next week. April 10th, which is today, the Final Fantasy VII Remake for PlayStation 4. I'm stoked for this. I cannot wait to play this game. I never really got into the original. I never really liked... I have a hard time going back and playing games with older graphics, so this is a little bit different, but I am really, really excited to play this game. April 11th, you can get Tharsis for Switch. On April 14th, you can get Fallout 76 Wastelanders expansion for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. And on April 16th, you can get Hellpoint for PC, Overcooked 2, the Gourmet Edition for PC, and Save Your Nuts for PC, Xbox One, and Switch. I'll just let that sink in for a second. Yeah, save your nuts. Anyway, free games for the week. On the Epic Games Store are Close to the Sun and Sherlock Holmes Crime and Punishment. You have until, I believe it was the 16th to get those, so definitely check that out. It's well worth the time because the price is right, and that's what matters. Amazon has delayed their MMO called New World until August 25th. The beta was supposed to begin in July, but will also be getting pushed back. We have no dates as to when the beta will be going live, but as soon as we find something out, I will let you guys know. This is all due to the team being sequestered from the COVID-19. If you don't know what COVID-19 is, I have no clue what to tell you at this point because it is everywhere. Every podcast you listen to talks about it and how it's affecting whatever industry or whatever they're dealing with. So yeah, huge deal. I assume this is, it's not even the first, but I assume this is, just another game that we're going to see affected by this as we go forward. It sucks to see, but at the same time, I would much rather see everybody safe and staying as healthy as possible. We have some Game Pass movement. Coming soon on console, you can get Nier Automata, Become as God's Edition for console, totally reliable delivery service on console, and Journey to the Savage Planet, also on console. On PC Game Pass, you can get Football Manager 2020, Mistover, Stranger Things 3, the game, and Overcooked 2. All those are coming soon. TM as well, so hopefully we'll see that in the near future. Leaving soon, I do believe that Nier Automata is actually available now and possibly totally reliable delivery service, both of those being for console. I think they might be out now. I think there was another press release after I wrote all this up saying when they would be out, so my bad. Leaving soon on console, the Book of Unwritten Tales 2, Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition, MX, VX, ATV, Reflex, and Samurai Showdown 2. On PC, the games that will be leaving soon are Fez, Into the Breach, and Valkyria Chronicles, and there is one game that is going to be leaving both console and PC very soon, and that is called Prey. There is a Switch port for Disco Elysium that is currently in development. That's about all we know at this point. I am excited for this. I think this is a game that would work very well on the Switch. I have played it on PC. I have not beat it yet. I always enjoy my time with this game as I play it, but I have such a hard time going back to it. I don't know if it just feels tedious or what it is. I love the game. I really love what they're doing here, but for some reason, it's not the game that drags me back in like so many other games do. Looking at you, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I don't know what they put in this game, but it is addicting, and I can't stop playing it. And it's weird because I've never been like that with Call of Duty, or at least not since like Black Ops 2. But here we are. So there will not be an official E3 this year. That had been canceled a while ago, but there still had been rumors that they may be doing an online event. But now that is no longer the case. A lot of other companies, such as like IGN and, like your Xbox and things like that, they will still be having some sort of, video, a Nintendo Direct style something. So it's going to be similar to how E3 is for those of you that don't go to E3 anyway. But the big thing that gets missed here is a lot of the back end stuff, the stuff that is going on behind closed doors, all these, smaller indie companies making deals, and even the large companies making deals. E3 was a lot more than what we saw on the surface, but this is, how it's got to be this year. So this is from a ESA representative, and this was in an interview with PC Gamer. So it says, given the disruption brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, we will not be presenting an online E3 2020 event in June. Instead, we will be working with exhibitors to promote and showcase individual company announcements, included on the www.e3expo.com website. In the coming months, we look forward to bringing our industry and community together in 2021 to present a reimagining of E3, and will highlight new offerings and thrill our audiences. We've talked about this many, many times, so I really don't want to beat this dead horse too much, but I think this is going to be hard for them to come back from. All these companies are going to save a ton of money and see pretty much the same response, and I think this will be more of a big conference going forward of just game devs meeting together. I think E3, as we know, it's going to have to change drastically, and it's just going to be more of a gathering of people in the industry, but we'll see. So the Nintendo Switch and Ring Fit shortages in Japan and everywhere. I mean, it's short everywhere. You can't find them. Have actually led to one specific retailer in Japan opening a lottery for a chance to purchase one. Yes, you have to buy a lottery ticket to potentially buy the actual console. That's how crazy it is over there. So there are 130 Switch consoles available and 900 Ring Fit Adventure units available from this specific retailer. The response they saw were about 200,000 people entering this lotto, and this caused the servers to crash and actually stop allowing entries. They just couldn't handle it anymore. So obviously there is a huge need for these two items over there in Japan, and really, I mean, just about everywhere, but Japan specifically, and it's not there. So I think the lottery kind of idea is okay, I guess. This is not the first time Japan has done it, but it's just kind of crazy to hear about because we don't typically do that around, the U.S. or at least not to that extent, but yeah, I don't know if you've been to your, local Walmart or anything in the, past couple weeks, which, again, stay safe, stay healthy, but there are no Nintendo Switches. There are a couple Switch Lites at my local Walmart. I think there was like 3 or 4. They had like one yellow, one gray, and like 2 turquoise or something. They had a spot for the new Coral Switch, but it wasn't there either. So, yeah. If you can find a Switch, good luck. But supposedly Nintendo has put out something saying that they are increasing, stock at a lot of these stores, and it should be looking better here soon. Hopefully that is actually the case, but given everything that's going on, I kind of find it hard to believe in a way. So if you have a Switch, hug it, love on it, enjoy it. We have a bit more news about refunds for The Last of Us 2. So if you already haven't heard, while we were on hiatus, The Last of Us 2 was pushed back indefinitely at this point. We don't know any dates or anything of that nature. So given that, the current pre-orders from the PlayStation Store have been canceled and a refund will be sent back to your original source of payment within a few days. So this should all happen automatically. You shouldn't have to do anything. You shouldn't have to write in. If you notice that you didn't get a refund for it, then you might have to go ahead and contact PlayStation and try to get that refund. But again, it should happen indefinitely. It sucks to see this because The Last of Us 2 is obviously one of those games that people are looking forward to a lot. But given this pandemic, that's just how it's gonna go. That's the state of the world right now, and I feel like I've said that 3 or 4 times because you gotta, I guess, justify it, Anyway, Rocket League is adding a new mode called Heat Seeker. At this time, the new mode will only be temporary. Probably will come as an actual mode later on. This might be a test. But anyway, this will be playable from April 16th at 9 a.m. Pacific time to April 20th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. In this game mode, the ball will automatically seek the opposing net once hit. If you do miss, the ball will actually gain speed and ricochet back towards your own goal. Each time the ball is touched, either by a player or a wall, the ball will actually switch directions and head towards the other goal, and will also gain speed. Kind of a neat idea. I don't know how this is actually going to look in practice, but we'll see. The first team to win get 7 goals wins the match. So that's neat. I'm really excited to see what this is. But by logging into Rocket League at any time while the game mode is live, you will receive the Hypnotics player banner. The game mode will still work towards leveling up and completing challenges for the Rocket Pass. I'm not sure if it will. I assume it's just going to be considered a casual since it's only here for 4 days. So I don't think you'll be able to do your competitive match games in that game mode, but you should be able to at least do some casual match stuff and things like that. I'm a huge Rocket League guy, but I've kind of fallen off of it a little bit lately. Just needed a break. Played too much lately, but I'll definitely jump in to check this out. Man, I need Jeff back so I can stop and take a drink for a second. The PlayStation 5 controller has been revealed, and it is called the DualSense. So PlayStation finally briefly showed off the controller for the next generation console and dove into some of the upcoming improvements to the new gamepad. So, if you have not seen this, you probably live under a rock at this point, but it is this two-tone black and white controller. Kind of looks like the PlayStation DualShock and the Xbox controller had a weird baby mixed with maybe iRobot in there. I'm not sure. But PlayStation chose to go with symmetrical sticks again. Obviously, that's their thing. And clear buttons rather than typical painted buttons, which is interesting. The buttons do appear to be backlit, as there is no paint on these things. So if you're trying to play with younger kids or something, and you're like, hey, press the the blue button, or the button that has blue on it, that's the one, rather than trying to go square or whatever. That it does look like they will be backlit, so you can avoid that. You should still be able to be like, hey, it's the blue button, or whatever. There does appear to be small light bars on either sides of the touchpad in the middle. I know it shouldn't blind you like the first version of the DualShock 4 did, where it was completely shining directly in people's eyes. It does look like they've learned from that and aren't going to do that again. A huge focus of developing this controller was strong battery life and comfort, two things that really matter in a gamepad. So designers spent a large amount of time balancing a strong battery as well as keeping the form and weight within a certain range. So I have faith in them. I think they'll do a good job on this. Personally, I don't care for the PlayStation controller, just because that's not what I've used. I do have a slight bias to the Xbox controller most of the time, but also the PlayStation controller doesn't bug me most of the time. My hands will cramp a little bit just because it's a different shape, and I probably play too many video games, so that's probably not good. Anyway, another big part of this controller is the haptic feedback. So PlayStation is claiming that the haptic feedback in these new controllers will allow you to feel whether your car is driving over mud or on asphalt, and other different experiences. Haptic feedback is not really a new thing, but the way it's being implemented and how detailed it's getting is kind of new. So that is probably going to be more in line with, how the Switch is, where you got like 1-2 switch where you're like, hey, how many ice cubes in here? Things like that. I think that's kind of what PlayStation is hoping to go for. In complement to the haptic feedback, there's also going to be adaptive triggers. This is actually pretty neat. So the L2 and R2 triggers are both adaptive, which allow the controller to show varying tensions while doing certain actions, such as drawing a bow and things like this. Again, this is something we've kind of known about for a while. They've already talked about this, but kind of doubling down on this, and this is going to be a big selling point for the PlayStation 5 controller, the DualSense, and I think this is neat. I mean, imagine playing Horizon Zero Dawn and being able to feel that trigger get tighter as you pull the bow back and things like that. I feel like this really can create a better sense of immersion. Another thing they added is that the controller is going to have a microphone array, so you can jump in, pick up the controller, and talk to people right out the gate. They even said, though, like, hey, this is better for small conversations, quick conversations, like, hey, you had a teammate and you wanted to tell him, how you had sex with his mom or something like that. You can do that now rather quickly, but if you're going to have a longer conversation, you should probably still put on a mic, and PlayStation will be the first to tell you that. So this is neat, though. I do think this is one of those cool things. Like, if one of your, in all seriousness, and if one of your buddies is like, hey, jump in the party, you can jump in real quick, be like, hey, I got to go do this real quick. I'll be right back. And then when you come back, put your headset on and do it, the proper way. The share button is gone off of these controllers. But before you light up your torches and grab your pitchforks, there is a new button to replace it called the Create button. So not much is known about how exactly this button will function, what it'll allow you to do, but Sony was able to stay ahead of the backlash by not having not having the typical share button by mentioning that this button will pretty much serve a similar and probably better function. So this is cool. I'm excited to see what they do. They really take pride in being the first ones to have that share button. So I imagine this is going to be a very, very good system that they implement here. And to wrap this story up and the podcast up, a message from the SIE president and CEO, Jim Ryan. DualSense marks a radical departure from our previous controller offerings and captures just how strongly we feel about making a generational leap with PlayStation 5. The new controller, along with many innovative features in PS5, will be transformative for games and continuing our mission at PlayStation to push the boundaries of play now and in the future. To the PlayStation community, I truly want to thank you for sharing this exciting journey with us as we head towards PlayStation 5's launch in holiday 2020. So doubling down on that date. They're still confident. We look forward to sharing more information about PlayStation 5, including the console design, in the coming months. So my personal opinion on this controller, I don't know. I looking at it, it looks too futuristic, kind of, not even really I don't know. It gives me, like, robot vibes, like iRobot type vibes. So I'm not personally a huge fan of how it looks. If it was all black, I'd probably be in. I just don't really care for the black and white two-tone. I think that's what's throwing me off. I really do like the backlit buttons and the way they're doing that. I think that's a cool idea. The light bar is obviously a kind of a staple at the DualShock, since the DualShock 4. So I think it is what it is. But I think there's a lot of cool things here. The haptic feedback in a controller of that style is a new thing. Normally it's, like the Switch Joy-Cons or something. So we don't get the haptic feedback to that level through a normal controller most of the time. The adaptive triggers are awesome. I think that's a fantastic idea. Really, overall, I think this is a solid controller. I think they're moving in a direction of almost splitting the lines between kind of an Xbox controller and a PlayStation controller, but while still keeping some of the things that PlayStation fans love, like the symmetrical sticks rather than the asymmetrical sticks that Xbox has. A lot of this kind of thing is just preference. It's just what you've kind of gotten used to and grown up with. If you grew up just playing an N64 controller forever, you could hand it to someone who's never played it, and they would be like, what the fuck is this? But meanwhile, if you played it, you're like, yeah, it's messed up, but I can use it. It's fine, and it'll work. But regardless, these controllers are versions of past controllers. They've found a formula that works for the most part, and they've kind of stuck to it. And I think both their controllers at this point are fantastic. I mean, if they hadn't really changed much on it and maybe just added some features and a better battery, I'd be all for it. You don't have to change the shape, but thing is, they're always trying to improve and make better items. So more power to them. I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to hold this. I'm excited for the PlayStation 5. It should be fantastic. I'm excited to see what games they bring us and all of these things. I'm excited for this next generation. I'm also excited for 2020 to be over because we're not off to a strong start this year. But with that being said, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Diggity Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Search for Diggity Gaming. It's the easiest way to find us. If you search Diggity, you just get no Diggity. That's how it happens. You can find me on Xbox at Luscious Brody, or on PlayStation at Wolverine's Cousin. Jeff's not here to laugh at me because he hates my name. He thinks it's funny. It's not funny. It's real serious. Leave a review. It helps out a ton. I cannot express that enough, how much reviews help. And even if you want to leave a review like, hey, I hate these guys. They left for like 3 weeks. What's this? What's this? You come back and there's just one of you. I get it. Don't leave that review, though. Wait. Stay for a few weeks. Maybe we'll earn your graces back. But anyway, it seriously does help us a ton. And we are happy to be back in business. And till next time, we'll see ya.